I'm Jacob, I'm 19, and I came on to talk today about how I think my life's going because I think my story is quite unique, at least, and it's been hard the last couple years once I started this journey that I'm on. So, right now, I'm feeling a little bit lonely, but mostly just annoyed at failure. How I keep failing every day, and I get very little for my labour. So I'll take it back a bit, and I'll tell you basically my story these last couple years. So I left secondary school, and through lockdown, I went through a bit of a weird period of trying to find myself and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And so I stumbled upon creating this metamorphosis in myself, recreating myself. So I did my first year of college, and up until this point, I'm a normal kid. There's a small group of friends, but not. I kind of evolved, and they didn't really evolve with me. So that kind of decreases the amount of friends. So I'm in kind of this point of isolation, and I'm trying to think about what I really want to do. So I stumble in the second year of college. I stumble across creating a clothing brand, but there's another part to this as well. I had quite a crazy drug experience, which also kind of made me it just reset my brain, and so I kind of started from a clean slate, like I've been born as a 17-year-old boy. Rather, yeah, it sounds weird, right? So I think, but that had a big impact on it. It was a couple things that came together, right? So I started this clothing brand, and then you kind of think, you go through the period of launch. No one's interested, and as the months go on, it gets more and more crushing, and you do get more competent, but there's just like key parts that are like missing, and you've already started. So I spent basically all my life savings on the stock. Yeah, it's a big mistake. There's so many mistakes about this. And so it puts me in a really bad position because there's something called the death ground strategy, where you invest. Robert Greene's idea. You invest so much into something so that you can't quit. So I literally cannot quit. I've got. I'll show you quickly. This is only a little bit of it as well. So those boxes there. Actually, this might be quite cool to show you. That's a big stack of stuff because I've got my uni house, so like half of it's in my uni house. So you invest so much that you actually can't quit, and it's pretty horrible. I have struggled mostly with marketing, and right now I've only sold about 15 pieces altogether, and it's been a year, and that devastates me. It's crushing, really, because how can you go for that long period and everyone thinks that you're going to just be able to sell, and it like no one really understands how hard it is, the fashion industry in general, but it really challenges you psychologically, because you then have this baseline thing where you can't, this is always in your mind that you've got all this stuff to sell, and so everything above that in your day is distorted because there's this one thing at the bottom that isn't in order. So that's kind of something I struggle in. So that like everything that comes across me, I now have this thing back in the mind that affects how I see it. So it's kind of a thing of just not being successful and hating that I'm not. I have got better at marketing particularly, but I think I've still got quite a long way to go. But anyway, after that, I started, literally a couple months after a clothing brand, I started a podcast with my cousin. That's the channel that this is on now. And it is really, really good fun. And it's some of my, on the actual conversation itself, when it's, you know, a good one, it's some of my favourite hours of the week. And it's kind of finding what I love at a young age is what I've realised with that. So there's a lot more work behind it than people think. It's the conversation itself, I'm not even too good at. This is my co-host Joel, that's very good at articulating, but I do everything behind the scenes, like 10 hours of editing, all like the distribution and kind of presentation of it. It takes a little bit of time, but I'm also quite good at asking questions. So I started that because I used to work in this restaurant and sometimes it wouldn't be that busy, so I just killed the time by asking questions to my colleagues. And then I got told one day you should start a podcast. It's people think it's like quite a cringy thing, some of them, but this is kind of like the better thing that I'm doing at the moment. Like, the podcast is way more easier than the clothing brand, probably 10 times easier to start a podcast, or like to do a podcast than do a clothing brand, because the clothing brand, you're trying to sell people something rather than you just want people to watch if it's a podcast. So I can't say that it's going badly. I can't complain with the podcast because I've been able to get a couple big guests. We interviewed Conjoined Twins that had, I think they have Carmen and Lupita, 3-point-something million. We've interviewed Monk. We've interviewed this girl called Chloe Valdery, who's been on Jordan Peterson's show, Simon Sinek's show, stuff like that. So there's a lot of optimism there. And this sort of brings me back to where I started with the stage that I'm at right now. So I've got these two big forces, right? But then there's also uni. There's also going gym. I ideally want to go gym every day, but there's gym, which is a big part of my life. There's reading, which means that I can get more competent enough to articulate on the podcast. And the reading's just been quite a long hobby. And then there's all these other things as well that I've now had to cut down because I'm not able to focus on these things. So I'm not really, even though my brand is about music, I'm not really having the time to actually get better at music. And so I did bits of singing, playing guitar, playing piano, learning a couple songs here and there. I do really enjoy that, but I just don't have the time for it because otherwise something else lacks. I was also a part of another company in uni, It was basically a startup soup firm, and we got quite successful. We basically won the university business of the year for that year. But I think I'm gonna have to cut that off this year, going back into uni. Right now is the good part because it's summer. But yeah, and also on top of that, I'm gonna have to work as well because I'm still on, my brand's not bringing enough money in, and my student loan's low. So I'm kind of I'm overwhelmed, but I'm used to being overwhelmed now. It's like every hour of the day, pretty much, is working or making myself smarter so that I can work better. And it's quite tough because, like I said, I'm only 19 right now. And as a result, I don't really have many friends. I've got two that I contact on sort of a couple days a week. I speak to them. One's a brand owner, one's Joel, and there's a couple other people that I've met from uni who have businesses, and I don't like, I really struggle to relate to people, so I struggle to build a deeper connection with people that don't kind of live the similar life philosophy and have the same sort of passions and understand where I'm coming from. So it's I basically have 4 friends. There's a couple other people that I meet here and there, so I don't know, but that's the thing I really struggle with, and I think it's not really having enough time, but it's also like people at my age often go out and get girls and stuff. I don't do any of that because I'm too busy working, and I also don't really like clubbing anyway, and I think that's kind of a problem. But then there's the positive that I don't have the stress, I don't have any of all that sort of stuff. I did have a girl up until about January this year, but she wasn't right, so I kind of just cut her off. But yeah, that's kind of a very quick summary of the last couple of years. I want to build the biggest podcast in the world. That's one of my priorities, and then I just want to sell all my stock that I've got right now. That's kind of the main things that I've been focusing on, and I'm trying not to go insane because some people do go insane. Even just having a brand, people go insane. But I think a big problem is, well, I'm not really enjoying it as much as I should. I'm trying to make it more personal. I'm trying to have more fun with it, but it's the way with that it becomes more harder risks and anxiety, and put myself out there and like talking to people on the street, and I've done that, but that's quite a hard thing to do. And also, I'll tell you another part of this. My parents and I have it's more my mum. We have quite a bad relationship. So actually yesterday, because we kind of spoke everything out, it kind of got a lot, it helped it a lot, but because I've been back from uni, it all starts from her not really believing in me, because she's a rational certainty personality that doesn't like risk. So she sees me spending my life savings on clothes, and from that point she didn't even like believe me from the start. So that is a dragon that's kind of between us, and therefore I can't talk to her about it, and then therefore develop small filters. And it's also like she's just so critical of everything I do. When I'm playing clips on the podcast clips on her YouTube, she just doesn't, she critiques the majority of it. I just never get any praise whatsoever from her about anything that I'm doing. She just wants me to go uni and get a job, and go for some sort of average job after I finish uni. And it hurts our relationship, especially more on my side, how much, because I can't really, like, I think I really struggle with talking to normal people because I'm so disconnected from how normal people live, because I'm so much in my own world. It's like people fuss about I don't know, like how their drink tastes, and it's just like I just chug that shit. Like I've got way more bigger problems to deal with for me. That there's just so much I don't think about. That there's so much that doesn't even come into my realm of consciousness, like in normal life. So yeah, my dad's a lot better. He kind of, I think he understands it more a little bit. Yeah, he does understand it more. But yeah, I mean, I've kind of I'm pretty far into like this now, about a year into both the podcast and the clothing brand. So I don't really intend to stop either. And so the solution is to keep going until eventually I can have the freedom to, they start paying a little bit to when they start paying enough so that I can travel, and that's kind of my goal really, just some passive, enough passive stuff. Well, it's not really passive, but enough stuff that's more linked to results than time, so that I can be free. And yeah, I'm glad that I've started these things, but I'm not too happy with my clothing brand's results. So it's called Latunia. This is one of the designs. There's another one here. It's a jacket. See, that probably isn't a very good view of it, but that's just context anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video to kind of like document whereabout I'm at. I do try and journal and stuff and keep like a record of this actively, but I don't do it consistently enough to be in a good process with it. I also meditate as well now, and kind of gotten tapped into the religious side of things. But yeah, that's just me. That's kind of an update for me. Joel has his own channel, so he'll probably do one for him, because I think turning 20 is a big thing. And yeah, I guess this is basically just the message that's I've been trying. I've been getting better. I think I'm not taking enough risks with my clothing brand. And as a result, I'm having to work more hours, and I'm having to cut off meeting people, going out, and any sort of social life, because it hasn't expanded. I've only really kept the friends that I've had at the start of September from uni, and then people before in school. And I think that's a bit of an issue, because you get like, it's basically like I've gone uni and I haven't even really been there, because I skipped all my lectures, failed 2 modules, one of them I have to redo. And like that's a big sacrifice as well. Like to not, I had flatmates in my first year, and like there was one guy I didn't get on with, and so then half of but there was just a bit of a collision issue because I did go out with them and I did enjoy it for a bit, but then a couple of them got a house the year without me, and I think that was a big pivotal moment. And then there's just a couple like big issues of people blaming me for stuff. So I think that hurt quite a lot, like unconsciously. I didn't really, not in like the normal way. So I don't know what to do with them because there's some people I do quite like in there, but I don't know whether to reconnect because they're going to be living in a different house, and I'm now with different people who I don't even know. So yeah, I don't know whether to reconnect with them or not. I mean, it would probably do me better if I do, but it's harder. Kind of like I'm not even like that good at talking to normal people. That's what I struggle with. Kind of the baseline of my problems is I can't really do it. Like I just get bored, or I'm just not really in like the good enough mood to. Because again, stuff's failing, and how can I be happy when like I'm a broke man with not much like value in the world and not much resources or anything. So yeah, I don't know should I end this video here? Okay, I think what I do, I'll end this video here, and if people want a part 2, I do have more to say. Like I can go in way more depth into stuff. So just let me know in the comments. So yeah, this podcast is weekly that we do. We this is totally kind of separate from it, but yeah, if you like deep conversations, then it's just this channel. Yeah, just check it out, and yeah, see what this video does in a bit.